Okay, let's call the March 15th, 2022 Village Board meeting to order. This meeting is being conducted both in person and remotely for the record. Village President Mark Zula, and I'm currently at our regular meeting location, Roscoe Village Hall. As an additional precaution, as the current configuration of Village Hall would make it difficult for us to conduct the meeting in person in a manner that can safely accommodate all parties, village staff, department heads, and members of the public, we've encouraged them to participate remotely. Once again, any action taken tonight will be conducted with roll call vote. Item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. I will now ask all those present to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Given the audio delay issues, we will ask everyone participating remotely to keep their microphones on mute during the pledge and remove your hats, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. That sounded really good with the echo. Yes. Item 3, roll call. Clerk, will you please call the roll, and will those trustees joining us remotely please acknowledge that they can hear the proceedings?
Gustafson,
Here.
Keen,
Here, and I can hear you.
Malakote,
Here.
Petty,
Here.
Block,
Here.
Dunn.
Here. Okay. Item 4, public comment. Once again, I see that we have several members of the public joining us this evening. And once again, I'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you for coming. I do have an announcement to make prior to public comment, though. The applicant for the proposed map
President Zula, we just lost audio. I don't know if you can hear us.
before they ruled against it. It's there in the writing if you'd like, okay? You look at it for yourselves. And Mr. Malaco, you were there at that time. You probably remember this. I know I don't expect you to remember 14 years ago, but you're good with local history. So, and I appreciated the time that you were actually looking into this to make sure it was the right thing to do. And the county at that time said no. So I would just ask you as we move forward now to tread lightly and to think about what these residents are asking you tonight. They're just asking for single family. I'm not even sure, judging by this, that we can even get that approved. But if you would at least meet the residents halfway and think about single family, I think a lot of this would go away. That's just my opinion. However, you still need to get past the county to make sure that they're going to even approve this project. So if there truly is a traffic study going on, I would like to see the results of it publicly released. And if there isn't, I'd like to quit hearing it brought up because I can't find anyone right now at the county level that is conducting a new traffic study. That's all I've got for tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
Don't applaud at a meeting, okay? Please. Anybody else like to come up to the podium? Anybody else? Sure. Joe, do we have a hand up?
No, we don't.
Sure, you coming up? Thank you.
I just have a question, just for
Please.
clarification.
Please go ahead. Please state your name and address. Sign in, please. Just the procedure.
Name is William Babcock, 927 Goose Down.
Evening.
Good evening. Thank you again. I want a clarification on the question because I'm not familiar with what you talked about as far as continuance. Did you say that if we speak now, we can't speak at the next meeting?
This is public comment, so whatever you would like to say.
No, that's a clarification. It's a request for everybody who
And I'll
wants.
address it after you. We have 3 minutes.
That's my comment right now.
This is not public comment is not a debate. I will address that during my president's report. Okay?
I don't know, but that seems very unacceptable just to not have a clarification of what you just said.
And I simply just told you, public comment is public comment. You have 3 minutes to state what it is you would like to say. And during my president's report, I will address your situation.
When is that, President?
That's coming up here.
But that's after.
That's after public comment, yes. If you have an agenda, it's number 5.
Pardon me?
If you have an agenda present, it's number 5.
I don't have an agenda present and I can't prepare to speak, but I'm not going to prepare to speak if today is not the day we're going to get a chance to speak another time.
Well, that's why.
That's what I heard you.
I'll answer that question for you. The reason why I addressed it in the beginning was simply just to tell everyone, we are going to vote to lay it over this evening. So in respect to that, if you would like to come on April 5th, will be the evening, if in fact it goes back onto the agenda, that we'll be voting on it. As of this evening, we're going to lay it over because the petitioner has asked us to lay it over. It's the petitioner's request that we're laying it over. It's also the petitioner's request for this multifamily thing. The comment of single family is not up to us. The developer has a request in front of us. We have a procedure that we go through, okay? Now, we do have it to where they are going to sit down and talk to the Rockton school superintendent, okay? Which I think is a great idea. It's a great idea. Why? Because I understand their concerns. We have a couple of different things that are about to be built out, right? We have to make sure that our schools can maintain all of those new people, right? So it's very important that they sit down and have a conversation, which is what I was going to report on later on in my meeting.
Mark.
But I just did it now for you.
Yeah, Mark, thank you. That's what I was asking for.
You're
I'm
welcome.
going to be brief, not going to state my whole statement, but I'm.
Absolutely, but understand something.
That.
I think there's some misunderstanding here. The petitioner has asked us to lay this over.
No, I,
It's his development,
yep,
not ours.
I clearly understand that. And Scott here made it perfectly clear that that is not what we're voting. You either have a yes or no vote. I get that. In this case, we feel strongly about what the vote should be, the only vote. So I'm going to make a couple of comments. I'll be done.
Sure, by all means, please.
And I'll share the rest of my story until the 18th, but thanks, Mark.
No, the
All
5th.
I'm asking for was the clarification.
And then please understand to everyone in the room, pay attention to the agenda, okay? Because it may not be on the 5th, right?
Okay, thank you.
Because they may not be through with their stuff.
Sure. So first of all, we're local citizens. We're not public speakers. We did not take on the responsibility that Stacy, Justin, you did. We appreciate your service. And you have chosen to represent us, our constituents. You are elected officials, elected to represent us, the people who live in the community. We pay taxes, we frequent the local businesses, we support the local schools and their activities. The residents of Hawks Point represent 170 homes, roughly $850,000 worth of tax dollars per year. About 467 individuals. We're not invited to speak. We didn't even want to speak. But since our voices and opinions are the only way you're going to hear what they are, we're here speaking. I've been here this is the 3rd meeting. Through this, been an education. I'm learning as I go, but I've heard a lot of things. We have spoken, we've shared our opinions, our concerns, and trustees that are in our favor have shared their own. We would like the same from the trustees that have voted for keeping this forward. So I'm a lot more, but that's all I want to say today. I'll be back on the 18th. Thank you for your time.
It's actually,
All your efforts.
just so,
Yep.
I just want to correct you. I said April 5th, not
I'm
15th.
sorry, April.
Now, I would pay attention to the posting, okay, because it may not be on. Anybody else have public comment? Please.
I'll do my best to write my name.
Oh, if you need some help, Scott's right there.
Oh, it's just gonna look like a 2-year-old.
Hey, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone right by my microphone, okay?
One other thing,
I don't know what's
too,
going on.
we installed new speakers here. And our clerk is back in my
Okay, never
office
mind.
online. And it picks up literally everything. So if you could keep the chatter down a little bit, she texted me, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I really just have a procedural question.
But can you now?
Could you state your name?
I'm sorry, Susan Trustee. I live on 10353 Hawks Point Trail. Again,
Thank you.
really just a procedural question. You had mentioned that the petitioner has asked to delay it.
Well, not delay it,
Or
delay it over.
later, okay. And completely understand that the reasoning is solid for doing so. You had mentioned that the board needs to vote on that request, or is it automatically?
No, see, as it's in the agenda, when we come to that, we're gonna ask to lay it over. At that point, there'll be a motion to lay it over, there'll be a second, and then we'll call the roll and it'll be laid over.
There'll be a vote.
There would be a vote.
Yes, to lay it over,
Okay,
yes.
so the vote hasn't happened yet, but you're
No.
already talking about the fact that it's going to be on. the
Right, so
agenda.
what I-
So that's what's confusing me is there a vote or not?
Yes, there will be later on to lay it over.
Okay.
Did that
It
answer your
sounds like that
question?
vote's already happened.
No. It has.
That's the appearance that's
That,
taking about.
that understandably.
Okay.
I understand where you're coming from, but that was not the intent.
Okay, that's all.
But I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Public comment? Please sign in and state your name and address.
Okay, I'm Nicole Stipplestack, 935 Goose Down Drive. Is more of it's again a question. Since the petitioner is going to meet with the school, the superintendent of the schools, is there an opportunity that you all would have a meeting with Mr. Terry or the Rockton superintendent as well, or Haneda superintendent as well prior to the vote? Or is just that information gonna get communicated to the group as a whole versus maybe some one-on-one conversations with Mr. Terry?
Sure. Yes, I will be speaking with Terry
Okay,
directly.
okay,
Most definitely. I did today as well.
okay, perfect.
Sure.
Yeah,
And actually, I'm gonna wanna, see the data,
yeah,
both sides, and actually at that point, you have to remember that. What we have in front of us is what we have in front of us.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a procedure that we must go through. The petitioner has just as many rights, or if not more rights, because he owns the land, or she. And then it's a process, right? So right now, that process has, for lack of a better term, slowed down or stopped. Why? Because the petitioner who is doing the development has asked us to lay it over so that way he can go and speak to the superintendent of schools, because he wants to explain to him what the construction timeline is. So everybody's on the same page, knowing and understanding how many, what's the build out going to be, and so on and so forth.
okay,
And so then after that meeting, I feel very confident that we'll sit back down and it'll be explained to me in great detail of what the outcome of that was. And then it'll be up to the petitioner at that point of whether or not he wants to bring it back in front of the board to vote on the amendment to move it from light industrial to multifamily.
Commercial.
Light commercial, I'm sorry, to multifamily.
so if he has like the opportunity to kind of pull back his zoning request based on that, in that meeting with Mr. Terry.
Sure, I can't speak for him.
Yeah, I know,
Sure.
I'm just, for instance, I'm just kind of,
Example.
I don't know how this works. So, should he decide to pull back at that point and kind of go back to the drawing board, what is the time frame for like that application for zoning if you wanted to go back to multifamily? Is there like a time frame? I know I saw something with the single family homes would be like a year to reapply, but is it the same with, if you want to go back to drawing board for like that?
If there were substantially different requests, they can present it
Okay,
as soon as they had it prepared.
okay,
And that's up to the petitioner.
okay, just wanted some clarification on some of the things. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And-
Good question.
Okay.
Okay, Joe, do we have any hands up? Oh,
I just want to point out that we also have, I believe Mike, I saw Mike Dugan back there as well, Superintendent.
oh, I'm
Negus.
sorry, I apologize. I didn't.
We'll include both of them and certainly if they're willing, the village will likely participate
Sure.
in whatever meetings they have with the applicant.
Please sign in and state your name and address.
It's Mike Robbins, 10160 Fawn Prairie. And this is just a real quick procedural question,
Sure.
kind of following up on what's happening. So I guess my question is, I drove here and talked to WREX and it was already announced on the TV station that it was whatever, postponed, canceled, laid over.
Mhm.
Is that common that it's already announced through the media? I think some people stayed home for that reason. I'm getting texts and calls of hearing that it was canceled and things of that nature. I'm just trying to follow how the news announces that.
Well, I can tell you, Mike, right?
Yes, sir. Just a simple question. That's all.
Well, you addressed me, not him.
I'm sorry, sir.
So I can tell you, I didn't speak to WRX. I didn't speak to anybody. I never speak to the news media, especially about an event like this, simply because if there was going to be a vote tonight, all right, that's why you come to the meeting, correct?
Yeah.
I agree with you.
That's
I agree with you, but sometime this afternoon, okay, and I can't give you an exact time, the petitioner requested that we lay it over this evening. Now, I do believe our village administrator, Scott, did have a conversation, so Scott can.
So to answer your question, it's just the media often reaches out prior to a meeting. Often, and it was communicated that we had received a request to lay it over. It was the exact words that we had received a request to lay it over.
And at that point, we still have a meeting.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. I'm just trying to follow
Yeah, but I mean, it'd be kind of hard for us to get up the phone and call everybody that we don't even know who's coming. So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Anybody else? Show any hands up? Okay. Pardon me?
No, they're not.
Okay, public comment is going once, public comment going twice, public comment is now gone. Item 5, President's Report. I want to just take a moment to acknowledge a very special event coming up this weekend. This Saturday, March 19th, please join us at 11 a.m. for the formal dedication to Brandon Rowe Memorial Highway. Specialist Brandon Rowe grew member of the 2000 graduating class of Hononegah High School. Brandon served in the United States Army distinction as part of C Company, 1st Battalion, 502nd Infantry, and part of the 101st Airborne Division. Brandon made the ultimate sacrifice, having been killed in action on March 31st, 2003. The dedication will take place at First National Bank, the corner at Bridge Street and 251. The dedication will be followed by a luncheon at the VFW Post 2955. I'm a lifetime member to that post. Is there any other veterans in the room? If so, please raise your hand. Thank you for your service. Okay, item 6, Treasurer's Report. Our treasurer is out right now. He's having a procedure done. So Scott, if you please give us the financials.
All right, pressure's on. Account balance before expenditures is $7,168,286. Tonight, we have expenditures per list of $81,221.88. We have total payroll expenses, including tax and IMRF, in the amount of $87,008.16, which leaves a net balance after expenditures of $7,055.96. We do have MFT expenditures tonight in the amount of $25,322.36, which leaves an MFT account balance of $1,187,559.86.
Okay, can I have a motion to pay bills?
Moved.
So moved.
By Justin Black, can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Anthony King. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Keen,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Malakote,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Hetty,
Yes.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 7, consent agenda. There's 5 items listed under consent agenda. 7.1, approval of the March 1st, 2022 meeting minutes. 7.2, approval of agreement with Clark Environmental for mosquito management. 7.3, approval of agreement with Miller Engineering for replacement of Public Works HVAC system. Item 7.4, approval of the agreement with State Line Fast Pitch for the use of Swenson Park. 7.5, approval of village administrator travel expenses to attend the IML lobby days in Springfield, Illinois on March 23rd, 2022. Are there any objections to us voting on all these items as part of the consent agenda?
I haven't read the minutes. We just got them at like 5:30 today. So can we pull those out?
Sure, we can pull out 7.1. Is there an objection to going with 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, 7.5? Clerk call the roll, please.
Say motion to approve.
Oh, motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Stacy. You're first. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Justin Platt. Clerk call the roll, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Flock,
Yes.
Hetty,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Malakote.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Joe.
And that will just be 7.1.
7.1. Okay, so need approval of 7.1 approval of the minutes from March 1st, 2022 village board meeting. I have a motion.
Sue, did you want to
So
lay
moved.
that over? Or did you want to just separate?
I would be fine separate. I
Well,
would-
it's separate.
So moved.
First by Stacy Malco, second by Justin Platt. Any other discussion? Let's call the roll, please.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eddie,
No.
Keen,
yes,
Malaco,
Yes.
Block.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-1. Item 8, motion and resolutions, final action. 8.1, approval of resolution 2022-R22, awarding contract and approval of an agreement with Rockford Structures Company for construction of a building addition to the Public Works facility for the bid amount of $480,000. Is there a motion to approve?
so moved.
First by Justin Clark, second by Anthony Keane. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Malaco,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Eddie,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes,
Block.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. 8.2, approval of resolution 2022-R23, designating certain village officials to approve change orders in the Public Works Facility Building Addition. Is there a motion to approve?
I would like to make a motion that we amend resolution 2022-R23, and I would like everyone to take a look at it in their documents. There are some changes that need to be made, some corrections that need to be made. So I'll give you a minute to find it.
Trying to see those now. Want to address this now? As the price, the dollar amounts.
Yes.
I think we changed those at the,
In section
previously.
2, in section 2, you'll see that there is an inconsistency. And I would like to amend the motion to reflect that the change order would be limited in dollar amount to $5,000 with the aggregate amount not to exceed $48,000. That's 10% of the project cost. I can't imagine something being an overrun in excess of 10% of the project cost, since there's been so much time and energy put into taking a look at this.
Well,
So therefore, the amended motion in section 2, that the dollar amount be changed to change order for $5,000 with the total aggregate amount not to exceed $48,000. But of course, if things happen as stated further here, it can always come before the board.
Scott,
That's what, let me address, that's perfectly acceptable. That those are the number, I think Joe and I proposed 5,050. 5,048 is perfectly reasonable. So please know we support that amendment. Also know that this resolution is necessary to keep expedient progress to construction. We had, just by reminder, on the police department, we had 19 different change orders. Now, they're not all increases. Some are no dollar amount, some go up, some go down. Sometimes there's multiple items in the request. There was 19 change orders that the project came in under budget. So know that it's not always a matter of the project going up. It's a matter of quickly approving field changes. Of course, anything over 10% or the dollar or over $5,000 would certainly come to the board.
Second.
we have a first and a second. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Eddie,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Keen,
yes,
Malaco,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. New business, first reading. 9.1, approval of ordinance 2022-03, approval of the map amendment from the CG General Commercial District to RM Multifamily Residential District for 2 continuous properties commonly known as 8XX Roscoe Road, pin number 08-06-101-008 and 0806-126-003. As I stated in the beginning of the meeting, the applicant has requested a layover to allow time to meet with the local school district. I think that this sounds like a very good idea. And I would like to see the motion for it to be laid over. So can I have a motion?
So moved.
First by Stacy Malco, second by Justin Platt. Any discussion?
Yes. It is laudable that there be conversations regarding the impact of new developments on schools. One would have expected that the developer would have had this in mind when he was thinking of his total project. So I support the idea of conversations. However, it has no bearing on the question that was put before us. And that was a zoning question. Either you support the concept of commercial general, or you want to see it multifamily. That is what we decide. And so to delay this by 3 weeks merely pushes the can down the road. Nothing changes. We have people who support it. We have people who oppose it. Nothing changes. So why delay it? And then secondly, it was purported by everything that was said at the beginning of this meeting that this was a done deal. And it has been the practice here where split votes always happen, and we know what the outcome is. And last, it is appalling, Mr. President, that you intimidate and try to stifle public comment. That is unacceptable, totally inappropriate and unacceptable.
And Carol,
And I don't want to hear it,
oh, really?
really.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
To what avail would this postponing this vote be? I mean, I don't understand. When the constituents asked last week if they could postpone it so that they could discuss it among themselves, we said, no, that can't be done.
they're not the petitioner. though.
We're petitioning now.
You're not the petitioner.
We're petitioning now.
You're still not the petitioner.
We're petitioning now.
Oh, no.
Somebody, they're not the
Okay.
petitioner. Okay, so did I answer your question?
Yeah, it doesn't seem, it
Well, I
answered
did.
my question.
Okay, thank you. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Gustafson,
No.
Dunn,
No,
Petty,
No.
Malaco,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Keen,
yes.
And I'll be a yes, lay it over.
Are we surprised?
So that covers 4-3. Public comment. Oh, no, I apologize. Hold on. 1 second.
President Zula, quick question. Did we have skip number 9? Did we do number
No,
9?
I'm going, that was number 9, 9.1. Okay,
Thank
can
you.
you hear okay? Well, old business is 10.1 on my agenda.
Another one on ours.
Oh, okay, well, we have a mistake. We have announcements.
The
We have announcements to say, hold on.
revised
So-
agenda didn't make it into the documents.
Okay. So I'm assuming that the agenda that's listed out there is 10.1, so I stand corrected.
Nope, the agenda that's posted out front and it was sent out is not, it was sent out twice. I apologize.
Okay.
The corrected
It
version.
happens. It happens.
The agenda that was posted and the corrected agenda that was emailed to everyone eliminated the erroneous extra 9. There was a 9 in there that was a
Okay.
placeholder of language.
Right.
For-
So it is 9.1 then?
Correct.
Okay,
9.1 was the map amendment that you just laid over.
right.
10 is old business.
This is the one I pulled from right up there.
That's the one I got. It's listed as 10.1.
10.1. So
Yeah.
everybody out there probably got the one that says 10.1.
Yeah, I pulled that from our meeting packet, so my apologies.
No, thanks for pointing it out. So I stand corrected. It's 10.1.
It was ordinance 2022-03. I don't know the agenda number.
Correct. Well, I did call it. I did call it. So anyway, on the agenda, item 10.1, the vote was 4-3 for it to be laid over.
To any confusion to those in the audience, if you grab the agenda off the podium,
Our apology.
what was listed as number 9 is essentially the language that is reflected in 8.2. It somehow, when it was inserted into the agenda, it populated number 9. When we caught that, we deleted it, but obviously it's not the version that got uploaded, so I apologize.
Item 10, old business. 10.1, engineering update. Brandon, are you on?
Yes, can you,
Oh, I'm going up. I'm going up.
hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I will start with Main Street's reconstruction. As you guys may recall, We received approval on the traffic impact analysis TIA and intersection design study IDS. During our last meeting, we did have a few minor comments that IDOT asked us to address, but they essentially said that we will approve this. We did receive full approval from them in the time between the last meeting and now. So we are moving forward with continuing the plan production now that we have an approved IDS. We can finalize those construction plans, and that's what we're beginning on now. Love Road, as you guys may recall, we received approvals from IDNR on the preliminary bridge design and hydraulic report, PBD and HR. And we also had received an approved TIA. So once we receive those, we are now advancing the full-on structural plans for the box culvert. We have to submit those to the District 1 office down in Springfield. And then we also, I'm sorry, I'm bringing up my notes right now. So we are also, now that we have an approved TIA, we are working on finalizing the IDS, intersection design study. I know that our traffic engineer has been working with IDOT to get some answers on some of IDOT's comments that they have proposed us to work on. So we're still working on the IDS, and then once we get approval on that, it will be finalizing the plan production. Willowbrook Road, no major updates there. As I stated in the last meeting, once we receive full approval on the Love Road IDS, we will be transferring our efforts and utilizing all of those comments that we received on Love Road and mimicking those in the Willowbrook Road TIA and IDS, because we have confirmed with IDOT that those comments will be similar. So that is the update on the 3 major projects. If there's any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon, this is Tony. Are we going to be breaking ground on any one of these 3 projects during the course of the year?
Well, considering the fact that funding has not been secured for any of these projects yet, I would have to say no. Now, getting the designs done, that is totally dependent on how fast we can work through IDOT's approvals processes on these things. We received a lot of the main approvals that we've got, especially from Main Street and Love Road, and the long review times, those have been approved already. So I feel confident that we will be making very significant progress over the next couple of months. Willowbrook Road, while we will be, I guess, it's not starting over, but trying to get those major approvals, the fact that we've worked through the Love Road approvals and gotten IDOT's acceptance on that stuff, that will make the approval processes on Willowbrook Road much easier. But breaking ground and construction, no. Scott, I don't know if you want to speak on that, but the fact that we don't have funding secured yet for those projects is going to be a limiting factor in that.
Now that we are now officially members of R1, these projects are being in the process now of being added. They're renewing the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program. It's necessary for these projects to be listed on the TIP to be eligible for federal funding. Previously, when we submitted funding requests, we just had a letter from Mike Dunn Jr. at R1 indicating that they would be TIP compliant, but we've now gone through the process to get them added into that plan. So they're no longer potentially part of it, becoming part of it. And Willowbrook and Roscoe also qualified for a separate plan that they keep called a transit plan. It's more related to logistics and commerce and trucking. So the more plans, the more approved MPO plans that these projects appear on, the stronger their case. Yeah, Mike. Correct, that is correct.
Not true. Not true. Okay. So I would assume we're done with item 11, old business, right? Right. That's what you're saying. Item 12, public comment. Once again, if there are any remaining members of the public, either present or logged in to the meeting this evening, who wish to speak, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And if you are online, you hit *6 to raise your hand. Joe can then call it. Anybody else in the public that would like to do public comment, by all means, please approach the podium, sign in, state your name and address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
I'll just be 1 minute. Thank you for letting me speak.
Please re-sign in, Rob, if you would. Please. This is a procedure.
All right.
Look, we're using a fake name.
Yeah. Read it. Okay. So to begin tonight's meeting.
I can hear you. Rob.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
not- yeah.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
One speak up.
Somebody turned it off, actually. That turned off.
You're on Meetings Act, gotta hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Somebody did turn it off. Weird. To begin tonight's meeting, I believe, Mayor, you said that we will be laying over the request.
Petitioner asked us to lay it over.
No, I believe the term was will be. That's why we were all a little bit confused, as though the vote had already taken place. So
It's my last time, Rob.
yeah, and that's what I think led us down the wrong path tonight. So, because then the vote comes out to be 4-3 and we're all going, yeah, done deal already. Yeah, that
It's
kind
not a
of.
done deal, Rob. Petitioner wanted to lay it over.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, guys, it just.
You got plenty of time to talk.
It didn't really come off right. Let's just put it that way.
I won't say it again.
I will be quiet.
Thank you.
Second part of this is just real quick. So being a member of the media for almost 20 years myself, if I would have called you guys and I would have said, what's happening at the meeting tonight? And you would have said, well, the petitioner has said they want to lay this over. I then probably would have asked, well, is it going to be laid over? And what did someone say?
That question was not asked, so there was no answer.
So they just made the assumption that all of our TV stations and our Rockford Register Star, that you guys were going to lay this over. Just made that assumption without anybody telling them that.
Communication was with one station, WREX.
Okay.
They called and asked if there was any updates in advance of the meeting. I let them know we had received a request to lay over. That's the total communication with the media.
That's where it ended. So they then reported that A, it was postponed, B, it was canceled tonight. That's a heck of a leap to make.
Obviously, it wasn't canceled. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. And you know that. We're
Okay.
always gonna be here.
Okay, well, I just wanted to see what actually happened. So I'll look forward to the meeting minutes on this. Appreciate it, gentlemen, ladies. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No, you bet. Anybody else? Public comment. By all means, please. Anybody? Public comment going once, public comment going twice.
Get somebody.
Oh, I apologize, I didn't see it. Please, by all means. Please sign in, state your name and your address, please, for the record.
Well, howdy, my name is Jared Logan. I live at 10093 Hawks Point Trail. Just wanted to, I guess, ask a few things for people to ponder. First would be that if Josh Petrie already owns this land and it's already zoned as commercial general, and what is before us is purely just voting on whether or not in April, when you guys come back, we're going to change it from commercial general to multifamily. If we vote no, we're not voting for a strip mall to be put in. We're basically voting to leave the land as it's been for the past 30 years. Are we not? And if we're voting no, I'm hoping it's because you guys are going to listen to the majority of those that purchased a home in the Hawks Point neighborhood, seeking a quiet neighborhood. Because I believe you had said, Mr. Mayor, that we cannot vote to just say we want single family homes because the petitioner has asked for multifamily homes. Okay, well, that's not what the Village of Roscoe wants. So you can come back to us and ask us to change it to single family homes because we said no to the multifamily homes. Would that be a correct assumption that we can't tell them to change it to single family homes, but we can keep telling them, no, it's going to stay commercial general until you petition us to change it to something that is acceptable to the Village of Roscoe? Would that be a correct assumption?
Well, there again, there's a process, right?
Mhm.
Go in front of the zoning board of appeals, right? Okay, and as long as the petitioner is meeting all the requirements at that point to ask for that amendment map change, okay, it then has a process that it would go through, just like the one that we're in right now. Remember, a landowner has rights too.
He absolutely does.
You know what I mean? Or she, doesn't really matter, you know, who it is. Just like you have rights to your property, right?
Mhm.
Okay, under certain laws and ordinances and things of that nature, okay, that we set forth, right? Same example here, right? So if in fact the developer wanted to change and go for single family, okay, he'd have to go back to ZBA again, okay, go through the process again, okay, it just starts over, correct, basically, goes through the whole thing again and moves forward. But remember, we're not the petitioner.
Correct. I agree 100%.
You know, the ball is in the petitioner's court, per se,
Correct.
to either move forward,
Mhm.
sit down with the superintendent of schools, which I think is a great idea, because there's obviously some, for lack of a better term, let's just call it a gray area on people, you know, maybe some over exaggerations. I can't speak outside of that. I'm just simply stating a fact. So, I mean, it's a good thing that they're sitting down to have that conversation. And I'm not going to disagree that that conversation shouldn't already have happened. But there again, he's the petitioner.
Correct.
Okay. He needs to reach out in these different examples. We then act on what's in front of us. Right.
I agree 100%. So I guess I'm not the best communicator.
No, that's cool.
It's not my day job, obviously. But it seems like right now what's before you guys, what you guys have to decide on is either this land is going to stay zoned as commercial, which is what it's been for 30 years, or it will be multifamily homes. And then you guys are going to vote based on what you think is best for the Village of Roscoe and what the majority of your residents would prefer you guys to hopefully vote for. And if he is told no, he has every right to do whatever he wants with his land as long as it's commercial general. But that's what it's been for 30 years. So by telling him no, it's going to stay commercial general, which the Village of Roscoe has a right to say, no, it will remain commercial general. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so then if he wanted to do something with that land, he would have to then change his mind on what he wants to do and go through the whole process all over again. And then eventually to do something other than commercial general with this piece of land, he would have to find something that would satisfy the Village of Roscoe, being you guys, our representatives, and hopefully all of us residents that will be affected by the decision. So it's not like, I guess, what I'm asking is, we're not asking you guys to vote no, because we don't want, because we want you to turn it into single family homes. We're telling you, well, no, we want you to vote no, because we want him to come back with something more acceptable. Because he can do whatever he wants with that land, but the multifamily homes, do I understand correctly that the traffic study has not been accomplished and
That's
that
been brought up.
it has been, okay, and then,
Some ways
I just want to address that so we're clear. No, it has not been done yet. We are not at that stage of the process.
okay,
The communication
very long
in-
stage.
has been provided in writing from the county to the applicant with respect to all the elements that will need to be studied. They will not, it's a significant investment and the
Okay.
applicant has to pay for that.
okay,
So understandably, they won't advance that study until they find out the resolution of the zoning change.
Okay, so it is possible then that we could vote to turn this into multifamily homes and then do a study and find out that it is actually detrimental to the traffic and it's not safe at all.
That's
But
correct.
we have already turned this
That is
into
correct.
the multifamily homes. So then would,
And that
if
goes
it,
from the, sorry, just, I know you're sort of going on that. I mean, that's the process, right? So this is just the zoning, like you said,
correct, it's,
and you do mind if I?
Yeah, no, right.
So yes, you're absolutely right. They could come back saying, nope, absolutely cannot have multifamily there. We don't know that's gonna happen. We don't know what proposal they're putting in. And then in that case, it wouldn't go forward. Then the developer could go and say, okay, well, if we tweak this or pull it back more, add more roads or this is only the first, very first step of this. So you're absolutely right.
so then what, playing this forward a little bit, let's say that the vote goes down and it turn, for four multifamily homes against, I think a lot of the residents' wishes, including my own. And then the traffic study comes back and says this is no good. There will be no multifamily homes because he cannot develop them because the traffic study says it's bad. So then he's gonna have to go through this zoning process. Again, seeking single family homes and probably do another traffic study to see if maybe the single family homes would be acceptable. Is this an
Yes.
okay
Kind of
assumption?
idea, yeah.
That sounds like the correct understanding of the process.
Okay,
You're getting, yeah, you're close.
okay, I'm getting close. I'm still an amateur, but.
I get it.
And then another question I had was, I thought I'd read in some reports that we were going to hire a consultant to help with the master plan for the village. And where are we in that process?
Crafting a request for proposals to send out.
Okay,
That will be at least a year-long process to develop a
Alrighty.
comprehensive plan.
The last one that was done a long time ago,
2008.
2008, okay.
long time.
Okay, would it be acceptable for the residents to respectfully request that we say no? Or that you guys vote no next month until after we can talk with a consultant for planning what we want to do with the village of Roscoe? So that way we know the correct, so that way we know whether or not we would want multifamily homes there, or if we would want the single family homes, because again, I understand that would be the developer's prerogative to do with the land what he wants, but our village has control over what it is zoned as. And we have the control to say, no, it's gonna remain commercial general until you come to us with a proposal that is acceptable to the village, that fits with our plan for development. Because right now, if we don't have a plan, I get in trouble whenever I try and do something without a plan at home.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
So I would hate for our village to do something without a plan. So,
But no, I mean, you're very in many of your examples, right?
mhm,
But please understand, that's on the petitioner,
correct.
okay? Like right now, them requesting us to lay it over means we have nothing to vote on except for laying it over, right? Just hear me out. I'm not them, right? So in fact, maybe after some conversation, he may not want to do that. So we may not have anything to vote on. Okay, I mean, I can't speak for them,
Correct.
right? So
Yes.
that's why I keep saying we have to vote on what's in front of us, right?
Correct.
And that's what we did this evening, because he's pulling back his petition. He wanted it laid over. Why? Because he wanted to sit down and have some conversation with the superintendent of schools, which I'm not going to disagree with, probably shouldn't have happened prior to, but it is what it is, right?
Yes.
He at least pulled it and is now sitting down and having that conversation. And then we'll naturally know what the outcome of that conversation is as soon as they have it.
Excellent, excellent.
But it's all on him, not us, at
Yes,
this point.
I understand. I do appreciate you guys taking the time to
Sure.
have this
Absolutely.
discussion with me to help me understand some of the options
Not a problem.
we have going forward.
Sometimes, I can tell you that When residents would like to, sit down and just have a one-on-one with me, I always have Saturday mornings open because people work. I work too, but Saturday mornings is always, been a good time. I've actually done it on Sunday mornings as well, if scheduling works out for them and me. But yeah, no, and I'd be more than happy to, answer any of your questions. Scott Sanders is a great resource. He handles all that stuff day to day. As Joe chimed in, Joe's also, I hate to use this term, like a historian. He's been here a while, right?
Yeah.
Which is good, actually, for all of us. And then to have someone on the board like Stacy Malakote, who's been here a long time, right? All those things kind of help weigh in on what's helpful of guiding, and looking ahead of what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is, as a board, we definitely had an issue with Denali Heights, right? And it's all public, information now.
With the what heights? I'm
With
sorry.
Denali Heights.
I'm sorry.
Because things weren't being built out properly.
Oh, where was Denali Heights? I'm south right by you.
Right by you.
Got it.
Yeah, right by you, just south.
Got it.
So, and the last name was Petrie, right?
Yes.
So this is Josh Petrie, right? And here's the thing. Josh Petrie is Josh Petrie. He's away from his dad right now, okay? Understand he has that last name, okay? But he's still a petitioner coming in front of us, all right? And we have to treat every petitioner that comes in front of us the same way.
Yes. Yes, we just understand 100%.
Right.
Yes.
There's a process that we go through and a procedure that we go through. And we're in the middle, we're not even in the middle of it. We're like, on a ruler, we're like a half inch in,
Yes.
right? There's a whole bunch more to come along.
There will be, and I'm sure that a lot of us are looking forward to seeing what's coming along.
Sure.
If you'll allow me, I think I remember seeing that there was a report that some people were worried about the housing and we needed to relieve some pressure on the housing market by creating some more homes. And I guess
That was actually on the news.
it was in the news. Okay, that's where it was. So my question about that was my wife and I moved us back from Oklahoma at the beginning of 2019 when I was done with a military commitment down there.
Thank you.
And our home sold so quickly, we didn't have time to actually buy a home up here before our home was sold down there. So we actually moved into the apartments on Clearwing Lane, that old address 100263 Clearwing Lane. So we lived in that neighborhood for a year before I bought our home in the Hawks Point neighborhood. If we're having a housing crisis, there's a lot of unfinished multifamily home plots in that neighborhood that I lived in for a year. And the neighborhood, or it's not a neighborhood, sorry, the area just south of the Hawks Point neighborhood is still undeveloped. So if we needed to.
You didn't say south?
Yes, I believe, yep, the one just south of us, between our neighborhood and there's a Gleasman Road that abuts up against.
That's what I was just talking about.
Oh, that's Denali Heights. Okay, awesome. Thank you. We were away for years for the military, so we just got back home. We're starting to discover more and more about what's changed, and so. But wouldn't we want to build some homes where we already have some development places set aside for, if we were going to try and relieve some of the housing pressure? And again, that's not for us to decide, that's for the developers.
But we're kind of getting off track here.
Okay,
I gave you a little bit of latitude and I enjoyed, the interaction.
Yes,
But
yes, it was
we still
phenomenal.
have to kind of keep to the subject, right? Go ahead.
I just want to add one note to what you said. There are no available spots to build out in Clearwing. Any open space you see is platted as detention.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Okay.
A little bit more to the post.
That answers that. So,
Anyway, we do appreciate you coming.
yeah,
You had
thank you.
some
Thank you for
excellent
having us.
questions. Okay, but that's where we're at with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Any other public comment? By all means, please come up. Public comment going once, public comment going twice. Public comment is now gone. Executive session, there's no need to go into executive session. Everything's good there. And then item 14, motion for adjournment.
So moved.
First by Anthony King. Second by Justin Platt. Clerk call roll, please.
Malaco,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Block,
Yes.
Keen,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Eddie.
Yes.
Thank you.